I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Someone asked about movement. How do good players traverse the map really quickly and not get spiked in the abyss? Just to answer that question quickly, for the most part, we're making use of the Z-axis. For example, if I were to dash on the ground like this, I'm using half dash on Ghost. I only go about this distance, but if I were to jump and dash, even without hitting any buttons, you'll see how far I go, line up with the crate there. But if I were to jump and dash and bunny hop at the end, as in I jump, I minimize the amount of time that I'm on the ground, right? Less friction, instead, encountering air resistance, but, the friction stops me a lot faster, I guess, or a lot harder. You can see how far I go just by using that technique alone. But then jump, dash, glide, you can see that carries me way further. And so in a lot of cases, if I'm chasing someone, I'll briefly pull out my glider, right? You can go into practice tool and literally just jump, dash, glide non-stop to practice this, right? You compare this to just moving, right? Just moving normally. This is fast, sure, right? But not as fast as this. So in other cases where you're not vulnerable, you should just be gliding, right? You could definitely just be doing this. In competitive play, if you're gliding around bushes, you're probably going to get hit, but you are technically faster if you are gliding. You can use a lot of your fuel to just kind of do this. The danger is if you ever have to use your glider and you're out of fuel, obviously that's not so good. Now, every character, or just about every character, can use their dash and glide for the most part, right? You can I'm not going to show every hunter, but almost anything that moves you, unless it's like a static movement like Void or Jewel, you can essentially just glide, right? Dash and glide, and you're good to go. Get into the habit of doing that. Obviously, don't get hit during that, because that would be a huge mistake. You get spiked. So dropping your glider or knowing when to drop your glider is really, really important. And typically that's just when your opponent's in front of you. More specifically, when your opponent is in front of you and is about to hit you. Okay, so this applies in abyss fights. One thing you have to get used to is this red orb. You see this red orb? That's ground level. Anytime you're above or below ground level, the game will try to rapidly pull you towards it when you're gliding, which means that if I were to pull my glider right now, it would go to ground level and then it would snap. Do you see that? I'll show you one more time. You can repeat if you rewind the video if you need to, but right there. When you glide, it'll go to that and it'll stop. However, if you were to release your glider button before you hit that, like this, you'll notice I'm flying way higher up. Now, I can demonstrate this clearly. If I were to glide, hit the ground level, and then try to move past this, I can't, right? But if I were to glide, release before ground level, I can jump over. Okay, so I get a lot more distance. And the reason why is because I have a lot of momentum, upwards momentum, going like this, right? But then the moment I hit ground level, again, it cancels all of it. That's like the only case where it doesn't reflect real life, where, the game is hard-coded to just make you, stop there. For the most part, okay? So getting used to dropping it before the red orb, getting used to this, allows you to fight in the abyss a lot better, because you minimize the amount of time that you're vulnerable. Now, it's not a hard rule. You don't have to absolutely, stop it. You could stop before it, right? You could release like this. You could even tap only a little bit if you're scared. But for the most part, making sure you're not using your entire glider the entire way up, right? It can be very, very useful in abyss fights, right? Because then, I can use the dash here. I can gain a little bit of height, I only have a couple moments where I'm like spikeable, and then, now I touch ground, now I'm safe, right? You have to make sure you're not mantling. Mantling doesn't give you your glider fuel back. Touching ground does. So, for example, if I were to glide a lot and I were to mantle, I don't get my glider fuel back. You'll notice this, right? I have to touch ground, and then I'll go. I'll get my glider fuel back. And so just practicing this can help you in abyss fights. Getting used to looking at your red orb. Right? And then using that. Okay, thanks for watching. Hopefully this helps you. Just work on incorporating a lot more physics into your gameplay. For example, like rounding corners, right? As long as you're smoother with that kind of movement, your game's going to be a lot better. Sometimes counteracting your own movement, like this, so that you don't go, to a dangerous spot, it can help, right? Pulling your glider is very scary, but, you just got to get used to playing on a knife's edge. Okay, thanks for watching, and hopefully that helps.